Hey guys, today we are going to be looking at the topic of diversity and taking a critical view of whether education is catering for the diverse range of students that we may come across during our future careers.
So, what is diversity? Diversity encompasses all those differences that make us unique, including but not limited to race, colour, ethnicity, language, nationality, sexual orientation, religion, gender, socioeconomic status, age, and physical and mental ability. The New South Wales Department of Education recognises this and states that education should recognise the cultural diversity of school communities, helps meet the education standards and welfare of students and their families. It aids in the planning of teaching and learning activities. Whilst also stating, understanding contemporary Australian culture helps teachers build culturally inclusive teaching and learning.
In order to assess whether diversity is catered for within education, it is vital to first understand what kind of diversity we may come across within our classrooms. As a group, we brainstormed the different types of diversity that we have either seen, heard of, or expect within the classroom at any school. The responses that we came up with are listed below. By recognising the various diverse groups that we as teachers encounter in schools, it is imperative to effectively cater for the needs of all students.
Within any given school, the number of diverse students and diverse backgrounds are numerous. So the Department of Education decided to conduct an investigation into government schools in 2018 to get a better understanding of the range of diversity within the sector. So out of the 797,751 students enrolled, 1 in 3 had a language background other than English, 1 in 4 had English as a second language or dialect, 1 in 5 students had a disability that required extra support within the classroom. 1 in 12 students were Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander. 1 in 25 students were assessed as gifted or talented. And 1 in 80 students came from a refugee background.
With the extreme amount of diversity found within Australian schools, it begs the question of whether the education system is catering for all and ensuring each student is being valued, included, and given the opportunities to exceed in their academic career. Over the following slides, we will address the policy and legislation, frameworks and strategies, as well as the standards that act as a tool for educators to ensure their classroom praxis caters for all, and also some transformation to make to existing practices. There are a range of policies and legislations in place to assist teachers in creating supportive classrooms for diverse learners. These include the Melbourne Declaration, which not only demonstrates a commitment to developing learning and equity within schools, but also outlines the need to improve outcomes for disadvantaged Australians, including citing the Close the Gap initiative, the need to provide targeted support to disadvantaged schools, and focus on improvement in low socioeconomic communities. The High Potential and Gifted Education Policy is another, which provides several professional development and praxis implications for teachers in the classroom to ensure the development of gifted and talented learners. We also have the EALD School Evaluation Framework, which provides schools the potential to evaluate their EALD programs and their effectiveness for these students. The Disability Strategy, which is accompanied by other standards to ensure effective education is delivered in safe environments to those with disabilities. And the Education Services for Overseas Students Act, to allow teachers to understand how to run an inclusive classroom. These are just a few of the policies in place which target specific diversities in which educators will likely encounter in the classroom. There are many others which the New South Wales Department of Education has put in place and actioned within the classroom to ensure that education caters for all forms of diversity. These can be accessed through the Department of Education website.
So the first framework that helps educators to cater for all in a way that supports the whole student is the wellbeing framework. So this framework has a particular focus on creating learning experiences and environments that support students in connecting, succeeding, and thriving within all stages of development and learning. So within the framework, in the connect phase, there is a particular focus on developing a sense of belonging among students, which shows respect and value to their diverse backgrounds, which is obviously crucial when working with students from diverse backgrounds. It also states the importance of developing teaching and learning experiences within a climate that celebrates these diversities, which helps students to develop a positive sense of self and therefore positive well-being. Okay, so next we have the quality teaching model, which we all know is a framework for educators to use to help ensure their classroom practices, including effective pedagogy to increase engagement and student outcomes. So in the framework, it states the importance of the 3 dimensions of pedagogy being intellectual quality, quality learning environments, and significance. So much like the wellbeing framework, these 3 dimensions of pedagogies have a strong connection in helping and addressing the needs of diverse students. So, for example, like within the intellectual quality, it states that no matter the student, no matter their background, by including practices such as focusing on higher order thinking skills through creating or substantive communication, student outcomes can be improved. And that goes for like within the area of significance. It recommends that learning needs to be connected to all areas of the student. So this includes areas such as their personal, social, and cultural backgrounds. And by doing this, not only is the work becoming more meaningful as it's personally related, but you're showing to the students that you value their differences and their background, and you're showing respect in that form.
Within Australia, higher governing bodies have developed and incorporated various standards in order for teachers to implement teaching strategies that meet the learning needs of all students. The Australian Professional Standards for Teachers supports and guides teachers in creating an enriched and inclusive learning environment. These standards are a public statement of what constitutes teacher quality. The standards framework outlines the knowledge, practice, and the professional engagement needed for effective teaching. In relation, the Disability Standards for Education clarify the obligations of education and training providers and seek to ensure that students with disability can access and participate in education on the same basis as other students. The role of these standards is to eliminate discriminations against persons on the ground of disability in the area of education and training. As a tool, teachers can use these standards as guides in order to cater for all students' needs while creating a holistic and inclusive learning environment.
So for our activity, we thought the best way to ensure we're prepared to cater for the diversity we've explored throughout this presentation was to put our learning into practice. So you've all been given 2 scenarios to choose from that are focused around a student from a diverse background. And in this activity, we're asking you to brainstorm pedagogies that you can implement to ensure this student is catered for, included, and celebrated in learning experiences. So these choices then need to be backed up with relevant policies, frameworks, legislation, standards, whatever you can to ensure that this aligns with what we need to do as educators. So to access this activity, just pause the video and click on one of the links of the chosen student that you would like to do. And then from there, just work at your own time, and there will be more information about the student on the Google Doc.
As educators, knowing that the population within our future schools are going to be diverse in a multitude of ways, it is our responsibility to ensure that we are implementing a wide range of strategies and approaches that foster a safe and inclusive environment that values each student holistically in order to cater for all diversities. The approaches used within classrooms have 2 purposes: to benefit the majority of students and to address individual needs. Often, teachers will have to implement specific strategies to target specific diversities. However, educators should also consider praxis to implement to cater for the whole classroom, not just those who have additional needs. Implementation of the Universal Design for Learning, or UDL, enables teachers to use effective strategies which cater to a wide range of learners. The implementation of UDL involves 3 stages, the first being multiple means of engagement, which could look like using a class rotation activity to ensure students are faced with multiple challenges in the one lesson to keep them on task. The second part of this design involves multiple means of representing work. This would include writing down instructions as well as verbalizing them, and potentially including the use of ICT to appeal to other students' needs. The third component of the design includes using action or expression, to allow students to demonstrate their ways of learning in various ways as opposed to one form. This links in with working with the multiple intelligences theory. Overall, the implementation of the UDL enables teachers to target the needs of the majority of the class, and then specifically address individuals' needs separately, therefore allowing for a smoothly running classroom where all classes are included and catered for. Teachers could also consider using group tasks in lessons to cater for differing abilities, which affords the advanced students opportunity to mentor others and less capable students the ability to receive peer feedback and grow as learners. Assigned seating could also be considered to enable the teachers to pair students in ability-based combinations, therefore growing all students in the class in ways relevant to their own progressions.
Although it is important for educators to create an inclusive environment for students, other strategies must be incorporated that meets the individual needs of students. Pedagogy is commonly referred to as the art or science of teaching. It is imperative as a teacher to implement various pedagogical strategies that cater all the needs of students. Teachers must meet the Australian Professional Standards for Teachers, curriculum standards, and other policies which support them in creating an inclusive environment for all students. To meet the individual needs of students, teachers need to create and implement various effective pedagogical practices. An effective way in doing this is the creation and use of individual learning plans. Individual Learning Plans, or ILP, is a collaborative written document that highlights and outlines students' current level of ability and has a goal in place for future attainment. ILP's role is to ensure students with certain learning difficulties or disabilities have access to a meaningful learning experience and curriculum that is meeting their specific needs. This is usually created with a wide collaboration team that involves teachers, executives, and parents of the student. ILP is an effective teaching strategy that directly relates to another strategy, which is commonly used by teachers, known as differentiation. To ensure that teacher complies with policy and affords these learners the opportunity to grow and develop to their best ability, teachers can look to implement lesson differentiation to benefit student needs. Differentiation can be implemented in several different ways. This can include setting alternative work to other students, setting tasks of the same work with a higher level of complexity, or potentially even getting the student to coach other students in their learning to develop their social skills and deepen their conceptual understanding of subject matter. It is evident that as educators, we will be exposed to a wide range of diverse students within the classroom. To help guide teachers, there have been various legislations, frameworks, and standards provided by higher governing bodies that allows teachers to meet these needs of students. It is our responsibility to ensure that we are implementing a wide range of strategies and approaches that foster a safe and inclusive environment that values each student holistically. Thank you for joining and participating with Georgia, Matthew, and I in discussing the issue in regards to catering for diversity. We hope you have taken away important and valuable information that you can use to inform and use within your practice.